move on. Why are we here? If we agree that as we are creation, there is a creator, we have to ask the question, why? For what purpose were we created? I ask everybody to look around, not just now, but for the rest of the night. Look around. Everything that you see that we have ever made with the hands of man, we have made for a purpose. What is that purpose? Why have we ever made anything? Anything small or anything big? As far as I'm concerned, and I've never found anybody to say otherwise, we have never created, we have never made anything except to perform a function for us. In other words, we have never made anything except to serve us. Does it not make sense then that our Creator made us to serve Him? In fact, this is what Allah tells us in the Holy Quran when He revealed in the translation of the meaning of the Quran, Surah 51, Ayat 56, quote, "And I, God, have not created jinn and men except that they should serve," and some translate worship, "me," meaning Almighty God Allah. So that is the purpose of our creation. That is reason for our existence. We were not created in the same way that we do not make anything except for it to serve us by performing a function. In the same way, we were not created except for a purpose. And that purpose is to serve the Creator, to serve and worship the Creator. So how? How do we serve Him? Think about this. Our Creator gave everything a guidance system. We have light to find our way during the day. We have the stars and the moon to find our way at night. This is for seeing animals. Birds migrate by polarized light. That is how they are able to migrate even when there are clouds covering the sky. They can read the polarization of the light even though they cannot see the sun. Other animals migrate by reading the magnetic field of the earth. Whales, lobsters can actually sense the magnetism of the earth and follow it, and that is how they find their way. That was the gift of our Creator to them. Salmon, this delicious fish that we have, leave the place of their birth, go down the river, out into the ocean for years. For years. When they come back to the river they were born in. They fight their way back up to the river to the very spot where they hatched from an egg, and they find their way there by smell. They smell their way from the vastness of the ocean to the river they were born with, back to the exact spot they were born. Bats and river dolphins have sonar. Marine animals in the deep ocean, so deep that there is no light, they can read electrical currents, so they can know where they are. They can find their prey by the electrical currents generated thereby. Insects have pheromones, which are chemicals so sensitive that they can sense a single molecule, and find their ways to food, find their ways to a mate. Plants, our Creator gave plants a unique guidance. Phototrophism, by which the stalk grows up. Geotrophism, by which the roots go down, and the two never get confused. You never find the roots growing up and the plant growing down. What is my point? My point is that our Creator has given everything in His creation guidance by which it can find its way to the things that it needs, food, a mate, etc. Can we possibly believe for 1 minute that our Creator would have so much mercy that He would give us guidance in all things, give guidance to all of His creation in all things, but He would not give us guidance to the hereafter? Is it possible to believe that? What would be the guidance to the hereafter? Obviously, revelation. Think of us. Think of our lives this way. A minute ago, I was talking about everything that we as man have made with our own hands. I drew the parallel that as we are creation of our Creator, we were created for a purpose. Now, when we make something with rules. It doesn't matter how simple or complex it is. If you have a spoon to eat with, that spoon has rules. You use it right side up, not upside down. You use the bowl of the spoon to eat with. You don't use the handle of the spoon to eat with. Now, this may seem simplistic, and you might say, well, I knew that. That's obvious. It wasn't always. When you were a baby, when you picked up that spoon, you might have picked it up by any end, and it might not have gone to your mouth. You could have put it into your eye if you wanted to, and as a baby, you wouldn't have known that that was not its purpose. But with the simple things, we grow to understand the rules. With the complex things, we don't. And so, the manufacturer gives us a user's manual. We buy a television, we buy a car, we buy a computer. What does it come with? An instruction manual. The instruction manual, by the way, is written by who? When we buy a product, do we ever find that Sony is writing the instructions for Panasonic television? Do we ever find that Ford Motor Company is writing the instruction manual for Hyundai cars? No. The instruction manual is always written by the one who made the product. That is the one who knows it best. So it only makes sense that the instruction manual for us would be written by the one who made us, the one who knows us best. To draw the parallel out a little bit longer, think of any instruction manual you ever read. It starts with what? Warnings. Warning, warning, warning. What will happen if you use this product incorrectly? Then it tells you how to use it correctly and the benefit that you will gain by doing so. And it finishes with what? A troubleshooting guide. How is that different from Revelation? Revelation tells us what not to do and the consequences of that. It tells us what to do and the benefit to be gained thereby. And it gives us a troubleshooting guide. In other words, it tells us how to sort ourselves out if we have a problem, how to correct our deficiencies and guide ourselves aright. Now, if you meet the specifications of what your duties are, you will reap the reward. And if you are an employee who is substandard, what happens to you? You get fired. Think about that word. Fired. The consequence of underperforming. The consequence of not meeting standards. That word did not come from nowhere. In the past, the people who were developing the English language looked around and said, how should we describe somebody who is a failure? What happens to them? In the same way that a person who is a failure in life finds the fire in the hereafter, the employee who is a failure on his job gets fired. So let us not be failures in life, and let us not be failures in the hereafter. So, hopefully by this point, we have agreed that as we are creation, there is a Creator. That as everything we make for the purpose of serving us, our Creator made us to serve and worship Him. We are then talking about how. The owner's manual, the manual of specification for us is the manual of revelation. Why? What is the need for revelation? Isn't it enough for all of us just to be good? Now, all of you know I am not dreaming up these questions by myself. All of you have heard other people asking these questions. Yeah, sure, I believe there's a God. Yeah, okay, I know I believe there's a God, and I know I should be serving and worshiping Him, but it's enough just to be good. I'm a good person, that's enough. So isn't that enough? The answer is no, it's not enough. Why? Well, To begin with, we have to examine the reason for revelation. Our Creator is fair and just. Our Creator is fair and just. When we die, we are going to the day of judgment, where we are going to be evaluated and assigned either to punishment or to paradise. Would it be fair for that assignment to be arbitrary? We are going to stand in front of a court. Think about a court for a minute. To establish justice, you need four things. You need a judge, you need a court, you need witnesses, and you need a book of laws. If you do not have any of those four things, how can you establish justice? And on the day of judgment, the judge will be Allah, the book of laws will be the Holy Quran, and the witnesses will be the elements of creation, and the court will be the day of judgment. Now, it is by those four things that we will be